Hey, good morning, and welcome back to Align with Me. This is where I do a weekly behind the scenes of the systems and the mindsets and the strategies that I'm using to run our top 1% luxury real estate team, as well as my Elevated Agents coaching business. And every week I'm taking one topic and just really pulling back the curtain. And this week's topic is all about how to really break through the barriers. Hey guys, glad to see you guys. How to break through the boundary issues that you have right now. These are all habits that I'm using in real time as a CEO and as a coach. And this is such an important conversation. In fact, I posted a poll yesterday and asked where in your life and business you're having the biggest boundary issues. Was it your family? Was it your clients? Was it your team? Though somebody actually thought I said teens instead of teams and definitely wanted to choose that. And so I should have added, if you are a parent of a teenager, I see you, boundary issues galore over here with ours. Or is it really everywhere? And not surprisingly, most people said that their boundary issues are kind of universal. And I'm really going to break that down with you today, because what I have come to really know and understand is that the greater the requirement becomes for your presence, the more your business grows, the more clients you have, the bigger your business becomes, the more you have to proactively protect your peace. Because if not, I used to use like the metaphor, I felt like I was just getting like pecked to death by chickens, like it just all over me all the time in a million different directions. And the bigger life you want to have, the bigger business you want to have, the more you have to start saying no to things that are draining your energy, the more you have to protect your time, protect your energy. But you don't want these protections to become barriers between yourself and other people, of course, because we want to be open. We want to be connected. We want to grow our relationships. We want to keep the relationships we have super strong. So how do we create boundaries in our lives while maintaining the connectivity with other people? So that's what we're really going to be talking about today. And so I don't like talking about boundaries in like the fluffy, you hear about them all the time, right? Like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. I don't like that. I don't like the generic conversation around boundaries, because to me, boundaries they need to be a little more fluid. They need to be a little more flexible. They need to work with your life and not be so rigid that you box yourself in. So what I'm going to teach you today is a little framework that I am teaching the agents in my program, the Elevated Agent Collective. And it's about becoming the architect of the boundaries in your life. And there are really 5 E's of energetic architecture. Because rather than boundaries being like these hard lines, these very firm areas where nobody can get in, nobody can get out, and it's created this rigid structure, it's more, I think about it like being the moat that surrounds the castle of your capacity. And you get to decide when the drawbridge stays down, you get to decide when the drawbridge goes up, and you allow additional time and energy in. So I'm going to walk you through the 5 E's of energetic architecture, of how you can create some fluid boundaries in your life that still allow you to be flexible, allow you to continue developing relationships with other people, are not firm and rigid, but that protect your peace in the way that you're going to need to increasingly do that the bigger your business, the bigger your life becomes. Okay, so the very first E is embodiment. Okay, so boundaries begin with how you see yourself. When I first got into the real estate business, I thought my job was to say yes as fast as I possibly could. Whatever anybody asked me to do, I was like, yes, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be faster. I'm going to be quicker. I'm going to show up more. I'm going to over deliver at a higher level. And while all those things will help you start a business, it's very hard to sustain and scale a business when you are living in reactive mode. I talk about that all the time. So what I realized I was doing in that moment is really abandoning myself in a lot of ways. I was very other focused, which as a people pleaser that many of us get into real estate are, I was focusing all my time and energy on serving others, which is great, but it was really neglecting my own needs, and it was creating an environment that just wasn't sustainable. And so when you are abandoning your needs, when you are getting in that people pleaser energy, you're not just letting yourself down, you're also letting the people who are depending on you down, because you're going to run out of capacity. Okay. So the first E that I want you to focus on when you think about boundaries is embodiment. Are you coming from energy of, I want to protect my resources to serve the greatest amount of people in the highest way? Or are you coming from people pleasing? So that's the first E. The second E in your energetic architecture is efficiency. So time management, as we know, is a huge deal. It's time is probably the biggest thing that I hear from my clients and the agents that I work with, that they are lacking, that they wish they had more of, that they wish they knew how to manage in a better way. And so I want you to hear me now that your business absolutely cannot scale if you're stuck in reactive mode. This includes your inbox. This includes your calendar. This includes all of your decision making. And so you really have to be the architect of your own time. And when you align your energy levels with the tasks that you have on your to-do list, you allow yourself to be so much more efficient. And the example that I love to give is, in real estate, if I were to do a comparative market analysis for a project that's very data driven, it requires me pulling comps, it has me doing, retrospective analysis as well as looking at the competition. This is something that if I did it first thing in the morning when I'm fueled by caffeine, sharpest mind, it might take me 30 minutes to do for a property. If I tried to do the exact same CMA at 4 p.m. when I hit my energetic slump, the same thing might take me 2 hours. So for me, I know that if I'm going to do that type of work, something that's analytical, something that requires me to really focus deep and dig into numbers, I have to do that early in the day. That is me creating my own efficiency. But that doesn't happen if I don't create boundaries in my life. If I'm living reactively, then I'm not going to be able to carve out the time to do the things that I need to do at the most efficient time for my own schedule. So that's E number 2. The third E of energetic architecture is expectation setting. Okay. Most people don't have boundary issues. They have expectation issues, AKA they aren't setting them. They aren't clear about them to begin with, and then they don't communicate them. So when you are onboarding a client, for example, are you really clearly defining your communication expectations? Are you spelling out what your communication windows are? Are you explaining decision timelines? Are you explaining what constitutes a call me anytime if you need me for this question versus a we should definitely book an appointment to talk about that on the phone on Monday afternoon type of question? If you allow your client communication to be a complete field day, you can expect that you are going to get calls at all hours of the day and night about things that may or may not be time sensitive at all. That's just the nature of the business. One of the biggest gripes that I have right now about the real estate industry is, and so if you feel called out here, I'm going to be really honest with you right now, how many text messages I get on the weekends from agents about things like broker open houses. It's rude. It just is. I don't want to know about your broker open house by text message on Sunday afternoon. I don't want to. I want to be with my family. I'm not paying attention to my calendar, and I guarantee you I'm not going to put it on my calendar if you send it to me on the middle of the weekend. Evenings, I get text messages from agents about things that are completely promotional at night, listings in other counties that I don't care about, that I don't have a buyer for, people are texting me at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. about their listing. Rude. It's rude. If we as agents would just respect each other's time and professional boundaries a little bit better, everybody's collective stress level would go down. So I just want to challenge you to think about what in the business, what communication you are putting out as well as receiving, and is this a time sensitive thing or is this a business hours type thing? So the third E of energetic architecture is emotional ownership. Okay, this is a big one, especially right now with agents with listings. Okay, there are agents who have listings that are sitting on the market. And with the agents that I speak to in the collective program, I am hearing so much stress. I am hearing so much anxiety. I am hearing all of this emotional ownership around things that they are not able to control. You can control how you market a home. You can control how you price a home. You can control the expectations you set with your client. You cannot control when the buyer shows up and makes an offer. And we carry so much emotional ownership for things that aren't ours. I used to joke, I used to have a friend actually who was one of those people that carried around other people's emotional energy. It's like she would strap it on like a backpack and just tote it around. And we have enough ownership of our own emotions and the people that we love that are in our world all the time, like our children, that we cannot carry the responsibility of the emotions of our clients. You may have a client who is choosing to sell at a time that is not ideal, at a price that is not really realistic. If that client is making that choice, that's not on you to carry. Okay, you are not a magician. You can only do as much as you can do. And when you know that you've done everything you possibly can do that's within your control, from there, you just have to let it go. It's not yours to carry. Finally, the fifth E of energetic architecture is your environment. And this is a really big one. Your physical space as well as your digital space. That can either support or it can sabotage your energy levels. So what I mean by this is if your phone is buzzing 24/7 because you don't ever use the do not disturb button, if your workspace is in chaos, if your car is a mess, if you never carve out uninterrupted time with your family where you put your phone away and you say, if the phone rings and it's a client, I'm going to miss it right now because I'm having dinner with my family. If you don't do that, you will constantly be drained. You will always be living with a very, very low battery. And again, not the best for the people that you love and the people that you're here to serve. And so I know some of this may sound harsh, and I get a lot of agents on my team at times have been like, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. I'm telling you, it is. And it's a complete game changer when you actually do it. We as agents have just been conditioned to believe that 24/7 availability is the job. But I just want to remind you, you are not Waffle House. You are not a short order cook who is sitting there waiting to take orders for waffles and cheeseburgers at midnight. Like, you are a professional. Professionals have boundaries. You, as a human, have to protect your energy, and the bigger your business becomes, the bigger your life becomes, the more choosy you have to be about how you spend your time and your energy and what you allow into the drawbridge. Like I said, you lower the drawbridge, people can come in. You raise the drawbridge, you protect your capacity. It becomes absolutely critical. So if you are one of those people that really has a hard time with this, I just want to give you permission. I want to let you know that, in fact, choosing yourself in this way, and he says that reminder, I'm not Waffle House. Yes, you're not Waffle House, Indy. Not that there's anything wrong with Waffle House. I love Waffle House, but that is not what the job is. But I just want to give you permission. I want you to understand that even though setting boundaries in your business feels scary, it feels like, but if I do that, I might miss this opportunity. That's a scarcity mindset, okay? What I want you to think about instead is that when you protect your energy, when you show up as your best self for your clients, for the people you love, you're actually going to bring in more aligned clients because you are truly embodying a real professional. So I just want to give you permission that if you struggle with that, that is your work this week. So I want to ask you these questions. I want you to think about these things. Everybody who's listening to this right now. Number one, where are you abandoning yourself in order to avoid discomfort? That's the first one. Where exactly are you abandoning yourself in order to avoid discomfort? Number two, what client behaviors are you tolerating that you secretly resent? I shared last week about how there was a seller client of a multi-million-dollar house who every single time I went over to his house, his dog licked my legs the entire time we were there. I would be sitting at the table for an hour having a listing appointment with him, and his dog was licking all the lotion off my ankles for like an hour. And he would occasionally be like, hey, quit, go away. And the dog wouldn't, and he didn't stop. And it was driving me insane. And I love dogs. It's not that I don't love dogs. I don't like being licked by a random dog on my ankles while I'm trying to make a listing presentation. I was not showing up as my best self. I was completely distracted, needless to say. So where are you tolerating behaviors from your clients that you're secretly resenting? Because it made me not want to go over there. Finally, what would shift if you decided today to take radical ownership of your environment? Okay? Cleaning out your car, organizing your office, situating your home environment to be more work friendly, carving out that space where you can, like I had to do, shut the door so that when my kids come down the stairs, I am not hearing them if I'm on a call with you guys. Where do you need to take radical ownership to set yourself up better for success? Because the environment that you have around you has a lot to do with your energy and how you show up. So in the collective, which I know lots of you who are on this and listening to this are part of that program, this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty on how to implement these things, because it's one thing to talk about them, it's another thing to know about them, and it's a whole different ball game to really put the systems in place in your business that these things just are part of the way that you do business. But what I want you to understand is that when you create boundaries, you actually show up as a more professional agent. You do. I mean, imagine if you went into a doctor's office and it was like a complete free-for-all and they're like, hey, come on back, go into whatever room you want. The doctor will be in. Doctor just runs in and then he runs into the other room. I mean, like chaos. That would not be the way. You would not instill a lot of confidence in that doctor if that was the environment. And so I want you to know that the more professional boundary setting that you put in your business, the more your clients are actually going to feel taken care of. They're going to trust you. And then the more your clients trust you, the more they're going to listen to you. They're going to have better outcomes. They're going to have a great experience, and they're going to refer you more. And so truly setting boundaries in your business gets you more business. It really does, because it elevates the professionalism across the board. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope this is really helpful. I want you to think about what needs to shift from a boundary standpoint in your business. And if you need some support in this, DM me. If you're watching this on Instagram, click the link below to learn more. I would love to support you. This is one of my favorite things to help agents do. So hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week where we talk more about how to actually align your life and your real estate business. And I'm pulling back the curtain on all of the things that we do. So hope you have a wonderful week.